3 years without centralized water supply, nearly 6 months without electricity and gas, constant interruptions in mobile service, and relentless Russian shelling. Russian forces continue to turn Pokrovsk into ruins.
Was that supermarket? Yes, supermarket. When did it hit? Well, 3 or 4 days ago.
Volunteers from a neighboring region are documenting the new destruction on their mobile phones. They come here several times a week to help people.
Get ready. Yes, I'm dressing. Let's go. I'll wait for you. Hurry up.
Alexei packed only the most essential things for the journey. He says he doesn't care where he goes, as long as it's away from the constantly shelled Pokrovsk.
They destroyed the supermarket, a big goods store, with missiles. Private houses are also being bombed. Should I just wait until something else falls?
Volunteers admit that now there are far more people wanting to leave Pokrovsk district than before. People are afraid of drones, as Russian occupiers frequently use them against civilians.
Drones fly all day long. In the morning, you can see all these little things hanging on the trees from the drones.
Strike drones have become a major problem for entering some villages near Pokrovsk. These 3 elderly women were walking from the village of Zvirovo, less than a kilometer from the front line. Servicemen helped them get to the city. Throughout their journey to Pokrovsk, they were protected by a Ukrainian drone.
Our guys protected us. Not a foreign drone, our own, was guarding us.
Once they boarded the minibus with the volunteers, the women couldn't believe they had survived. Throughout February, Nina lived in a cold house. The Russians hit her home multiple times when they saw smoke coming from the stovepipe.
In February, the water froze. I just sat there, chipping ice and sucking on it. I didn't eat anything, just like that. I survived.
Despite the heavy shelling of the city and its district, many still remain for various reasons. Often it's to take care of elderly family members and animals that they don't want to abandon.
3, 4, 5, 6, 17.
Every day, Valentina feeds 20 pets. She says their numbers are growing daily. She has no plans to leave yet.
I'm not a waiting person. I just love my Ukraine and my homeland. That's who I am. And you understand, I can't just leave everything behind. My whole life has passed here.
Despite the fact that Pokrovsk residents rarely go outside and often sleep in shelters, 11 civilians were killed in the city in February. Currently, according to the Regional Military Administration, nearly 6,000 people remain in Pokrovsk. Reported by Alyona Hramova, Yevgeny Karmazin, UATV News.
Pokrovsk is one of the hardest spots on the front lines. The Russian army is attacking Ukrainian forces from all sides. The enemy mostly operates with small assault groups.
In December, there were heavy fogs in the Pokrovsk direction and across the eastern front. They moved at night, then hid somewhere, waiting for all the groups to pass, 2 people at a time. Now their assaults involve 8 to 10 people, sometimes more. They move using lightly armored vehicles and cars.
Ukrainian forces carry out a series of counterattacks and push the Russians out of the village of Pishane, just a few kilometers from Pokrovsk. However, the Russian army continues to make new attempts to break through. Moscow does not care about its losses. The Kremlin is trying to gain as much as possible in the potential negotiation process, which is why they set new deadlines for capturing Ukrainian territories, experts explain.
Understanding that Russia is heading towards social and economic collapse, Russia's military capabilities are running out much faster than they can replenish them, including all mobilization resources and those from the military-industrial complex. Therefore, the Russian occupiers understand that they need to hurry, including in the negotiation process.
The Russian army continues its efforts to push Ukrainian forces out of positions near Vodinoe, Novotroitske, Yelizavetovka, Promin, Dachinke, Kotline, Novo-Alexandrivka, Andriivka, and Ulake. Airstrikes are targeting Mirolyubivka, Zvirov, and Pokrovsk.
The enemy is trying to realize its numerical advantage and develop the offensive. Heavy fighting continues.
Ukrainian armed forces are launching effective counterattacks on the enemy. As a result, the pace of the Russian advance on the front has significantly slowed in the last 3 months, analysts from the Institute for the Study of War noted.
It can't be said that the fighting has become less intense than before. There is simply a tendency toward a decrease. This can be explained by several factors, both the exhaustion of the Russians and the fact that they may be preparing for new offensive actions, operations that they plan but have not openly spoken about, likely in April or May of this year.
Russian command is struggling to replenish its losses, experts claim.
Equipment is being destroyed first. I'm talking about all types of equipment, from cars to motorcycles and so on. This, combined with other factors, reduces the number of their assaults, but we know for sure that they are constantly pulling in reserves, even transferring them from other areas of the front to the Pokrovsk direction.
Approximately a third of all combat encounters each day occur in the Pokrovsk direction. To increase the intensity of combat, Moscow will have to reduce activity on other parts of the front.
I don't think a decision will be made, for example, to withdraw forces from the Lyman direction and transfer them to Pokrovsk to increase pressure there.
After a series of sharp statements by the President of US, Donald Trump, directed at President of Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelensky, the US Institute for the Study of War published a report refuting Trump's claims. One of these claims was that Russia could soon capture all of Ukraine's territory.
Russian forces currently occupy around 20% of Ukraine, leaving the remaining 80% of the country under Ukraine's sovereign control. At the current rate of advance, it would take Russian forces over 83 years to capture the remaining 80% of Ukraine, assuming that they can sustain massive personnel losses indefinitely. From ISW report,
the total combat losses of the Russian army since the start of the full-scale invasion of Ukraine have succeeded 8,066,000, according to the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, reported by Alexander Zaslavets, Victoria Smirnova, UATV News.